Children Went to Theaters in 2016 as a film about animals was released. Based around said animals living in a U, or actually a zootopia, the film proudly shows that anyone can be anything. Or does it? For people viewing on the very surface level, yes, it does. The tiny, weak little rabbit, Judy Hopps, works in a police force formed mainly by larger animals. But as the film progresses, a hidden, deeper meaning is unknowingly conveyed to most audiences. To what extent does Zootopia demonstrate that good intentions are not enough to overcome hidden implicit bias? In this video essay, we will dive into this deep theme for 3 sections. The film opens by establishing something almost familiar to all, an utopian city for animals that is based around the slogan that anyone can be anything. As reviewer Solisa Kalakal states, the movie leans on the standard Disney archetype of friendship and kindness to start the movie off with a feeling of optimism. But wait, that's not right. The start is actually necessary deception, as the movie needs the audience to invest in this progressive utopia and to be led by it. So then the reveal of prejudice glues the audience to their chairs by making them feel extremely uncomfortable. Jonathan Myers, a critic, identifies this as a bait and switch, with a bait being a classic underdog story before the dismantling of that narrative. The film immediately begins planting seeds of doubt about these good intentions within safe and domestic spaces. Dr. Shakti Butler, a bias expert, states that prejudice doesn't exist in a vacuum. It actually comes from the specific environments that raise us. Judy's parents aren't villains, because they do genuinely love her, but they do systematically prepare Judy to fear foxes. This shows how harmful stereotypes are transmitted disguised as protective parental love.
With a weasel.
Yeah, and he cheats like there's no tomorrow. You know what? Pretty much all predators, and Zootopia's full of them.
Oh, Stu.
And foxes are the worst.
Yeah, actually, your father does have a point there. It's in their biology. Remember what happened with Gideon Gray?
When I was 9, Gideon Gray was a jerk who happened to be a fox. I know plenty of bunnies who are jerks.
Sure. Yeah, we all do, absolutely. But just in case, we made you a little care package to take with you.
And I put some snacks in there.
This is Fox Deterrent.
Yeah, that's safe to have that.
This is Fox Repellent.
Okay, the deterrent and the repellent, that's all she needs.
Check this out.
Oh, for goodness sake. She has no need for a fox taser, Stu.
Oh, come on. When is there not a need for a fox taser?
Okay, look, I will take this to make you stop talking.
By having Judy carry this can of fox spray with her to a city, the film shows us the prejudiced things good people carry with them. Now let's move on to the second chapter. As the plot progresses, the film focuses on the difference between explicit racism and implicit bias. Explicit bias is easy to spot and unapologetic, such as Nick getting excluded from the Elephant Ice Creamery. But implicit bias is far more insidious. It acts on good-intentioned individuals like Judy Hopps and affects them without the individual realizing it. Judy Hopps embodies this, as she is forward-thinking. Researcher Katie Darlage data shows instead that our progressive hero, Judy Hopps, is the character responsible for the highest number of harmful stereotype instances in the film. When the pressure mounts, her good intentions disappear. This is culminated in the film's centerpiece, the press conference where Judy panics and falls back on the biological stereotypes she claimed to oppose.
It may have something to do with biology.
What do you mean by that?
A biological component, something in their DNA. For whatever reason, they seem to be reverting back to their primitive savage ways.
Freeze! Nick is framed here as the toll of sustained stereotype. His strategy has always been conforming to the stereotype. Even in the start of a film where he states that a fox is shifty, and that there is no point in trying to change. When Judy, his closest ally, reduces him to his biology, her identity as a progressive character breaks. This proves that even if you want to be a good person, your underlying biases will still affect you. Now let's look at the final chapter, which shows the actual consequences of implicit bias, when the individuals who have it is scaled up to a whole level of society. Systemic prejudice is not just an accidental ignorance, it's a tool that is engineered and weaponized by politicians, shown by Mayor Bellwether, who states that fear always works. However, the film's allegory may also be limited. Professor Clarence Tweedy and aforementioned critic Jonathan Myers argue that the prejudice onto a simple predator-prey biology oversimplifies the actual structural history of real-world bias, focusing on white supremacy. They note that racism requires a level of seriousness that a Disney narrative may not be able to capture, especially when the actual issue shown in Zootopia is solved by just putting a corrupt sheep, Bellwether, in jail. Yes, these may be limitations to the argument about Zootopia, but the film's final thesis still remains very well supported. The film still argues that true progress requires rigorous, uncomfortable self-reflection. Instead of the usual Disney trope to offer some random magical cure, it forces characters like Judy Hopps to completely own up to their implicit bias instead of offering surface-level excuses. So in the end, Zootopia's final value isn't just that it randomly solves systemic prejudice, but it actually shows the audience a sort of mirror. It shows them a sort of vision of themselves. Zootopia shows that change just doesn't start with utopian slogans. It actually starts when we are willing to take that step into self-reflection. Sometimes we have to admit we are the ones holding the fox repellent.